Petra SP to implement water sector transformation framework. Malaysia urges countries to resume support for UNRWA. Good evening and salam Malaysia Madani. You're watching Malaysia Tonight. I'm SAHIH. Energy Transition and Water Transformation, or Petra Industry, or Petra Ministry, in collaboration with the National Water Services Commission, SPAN, is poised to establish and devise the framework for implementing transformative measures in the water services sector over the next decade.
Its Minister Datuk Sri Fadila Yusof announced that Petra intends to engage stakeholders and partner with the Malaysian Water Association's MWA to solicit input and feedback from all concerned parties. He said some of the notable considerations are, for example, digitalization and AI adoption in the water industry to enhance sustainability and improve operation efficiency. Likewise, while water resource management and cost reduction practices remain key benefits, operators will also need to look into revenue management and revenue enhancement to ensure the sustainability of the water industry. Datuk Sri Fadila also said the efforts to reform the delivery of the water services sector are a strategic priority and require the cooperation and collaboration of all stakeholders at all levels over a certain period in Malaysia. He pointed out that over the past 3 months, his officers and SPAN have embarked on a journey to put things into perspective and draw up the Petra Water Transformation Plan to restructure, strengthen, rationalise the considerably fragmented nature of water, which entails guidance on the economics, management and governance of water.
Communications Minister Fahmi Fadil today said that the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, MCMC, and Digital Nasional Berhad, DNB, will sign a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, aimed at expediting the adoption of 5G technology among industries and small and medium enterprises, SMEs. He highlighted that the advantages of 5G, which have already seen a 35% increase in uptake in April, extend beyond just consumers to encompass industrial and enterprise sectors as well.
He said additional announcements regarding 5G implementation are expected to be made next week, providing clear directions. The dual network policy, he added, will continue with further announcement also expected next week.
Dalam mesyuarat Jemaah Menteri pada hari ini, Perdana Menteri telah memberi penegasan tentang pelaksanaan rangkaian 5G dan antara yang telah dipersetujui ialah insya-Allah esok Yang Berhormat Gobind Singh Dio, Menteri Digital, akan berada di Pulau Pinang untuk satu acara bersama dengan Digital Nasional Berhad, DNB, dan beliau akan membuat beberapa pengumuman berkenaan dengan pelantikan ahli lembaga pengarah dan beberapa hala tuju bagi DNB esok.
Briefing reporters today, Fahmi said that the feedback received for the KL20 summit indicated that the implemented format aligns well and prioritizes certain specific areas, notably artificial intelligence and the semiconductor sector. He went on to say that the event is expected to have a significantly positive impact on the country in the future.
The exposure to various science, mathematics, engineering and technology STEM-based programs must be implemented continuously to address the issue of declining interest in the subjects among young people. Bandar Tun Razak Member of Parliament Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail said among the reasons for young people's lack of interest in STEM are its perceived difficulty, unengaging teaching methods and limited job prospects.
Berikan mereka pendedahan supaya kita mahukan lebih ramai mereka mengambil jurusan STEM, ya. Daripada STEM itu dia akan masuk ke universiti tenaga kita dan memberikan kita satu pool, ya, anak-anak muda engineer untuk menangani masalah. Kalau kita ada pelaburan sekarang ni daripada banyak-banyak tempat itu, kita ada mereka yang boleh engineer-engineer yang diperlukan.
She said this at the opening of the Engineering Day 2024 program hosted by Universiti Tenaga Nasional Uni 10 in Bangi today. She emphasized that such programs are highly encouraged to help cultivate students' interest in the field, adding that the initiative could be a good starting point for students who will make up the nation's future professionals. Unitan Vice-Chancellor Professor Dr. Hairul Saleh Muhammad Sahari and Political Secretary to the Prime Minister Datuk Azman Abidin were also present. According to Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah, the best approach to spark students' interest in choosing the field is by exposing them to fun and easy to understand basic STEM concepts, much like the activities organised throughout the Engineering Day programme. A total of 160 Form 5 students from 16 schools in the Bandar Tun Razak constituency participated in the one-day programme.
A 24-year-old Vietnamese man was nabbed by the Road Transport Department JPJ over suspicion of holding a fake driving license during checks on 9th April near the Malaysia-Thailand border. Kedah JPJ Deputy Director Shahrul Azhar Mat Dali said investigations found that the man allegedly purchased the fake license through a social media site for RM2,000.
He said the man was flagged at 7:57 a.m. while entering the country driving a Pro 2 Myvi in Bukit Kayu Hitam.
Kalau kita tengok di media, dia open. Open tapi JPJ kita duk track tak dapat lagi.
Jadi peluang untuk budak asing.
Jadi suka saya nasihatkanlah pada yang memegang lesen mandu secara mudah ini tak ada skip dalam peraturan jabatan atau JPJ dalam memberi kawan lesen memandu ni, dia mesti melalui pembelajaran dan ujian. Tak ada yang jalan mudah.
Briefing reporters today, he said the driving license was later sent to the chemistry department and was found to be fake. Shahrul Azhar said they are currently investigating the possibility of others processing similar fake licenses. The case is being investigated under Section 108, Subsection 3, Subsection E of the Road Transport Act 1987 for document forgery.
Malaysia has urged countries that suspended their contributions to resume their support for the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East UNRWA. According to the Foreign Ministry, the agency serves as a vital lifeline for the registered Palestinians.
In a statement, Wisma Putra said Malaysia welcomed the decision by several countries to resume their contribution to UNRWA. The ministry said Malaysia welcomes the findings of the United Nations Secretary-General by the independent review of mechanism and procedures to ensure adherence by the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East UNRWA to the humanitarian principle of neutrality. It said the report unequivocally rejects Israel's baseless accusations of United Nations UN staff being involved with terrorist organizations. According to the statement, the independent review group was established by the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres on 5th February this year to assess UNRWA's neutrality following allegations by Israel on the involvement of UNRWA staff in the 7 October 2023 attacks. According to media reports, the UNRWA was established by the UN General Assembly over 70 years ago to assist Palestinians who were forcibly displaced from their land. The agency provides crucial support to millions of Palestinian refugees in the Gaza Strip, West Bank, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria and other areas where large numbers of registered Palestinians live.
Up next in the business segment, data centers account for the majority of approved digital investments. Investment, Trade and Industry Ministry or MITI announced today that of the 144.7 billion ringgit approved digital investments between the year 2021 and 2023, data centers make up 114.7 billion ringgit, creating 39,231 job opportunities.
Its Minister Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Abdul Aziz said that in 2021, the approved investments were 3.4 billion ringgit, 80.8 billion ringgit in 2022 and 60.5 billion ringgit last year, coming from various organizations including Amazon, GDS, YTL and ByteDance. While approved investments are vital to build up the momentum, he said, MITI also gave strong focus on realised investment. He said that from 2021 to February 2023, there were 2,386 manufacturing projects approved by the National Committee on Investments. From the 1,802 or 75.5% of the projects implemented, 1,597 projects were at the inception stage and 205 are at the construction of buildings or manufacturing facility stage. Of the approved projects, 551 were in the planning stage, while 33 were not implemented due to a change in the respective company's strategy. Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul said the ministry will continue to focus on both domestic and foreign direct investments. On the trade outlook, the minister said trade is set to improve in the year 2024, but challenges remain amid geopolitical uncertainties.
Adding to that, Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul said the Malaysian Industrial Development Finance Berhad MIDF, an agency under MITI, has disbursed 58.9 million ringgit to 17 small and medium enterprises in the first quarter of 2024 for automation and modernisation.
The total allocation for the soft loan is 150 million ringgit for 30 companies in the manufacturing and manufacturing-related services sector. Additionally, there are matching grants available for Bumiputra Aerospace SMEs. As for the Industry Forward Intervention Fund, IIF, he noted that applications from 401 Malaysian SMEs were approved with a total grant value of 149.1 million ringgit as of 31st March 2024. The IIF serves as a financial support facility for Malaysian SMEs in the manufacturing and related services sectors to adopt Industry 4.0 technologies. The top 3 approvals were food manufacturing, 78 SMEs, plastic products, 51, and machinery and equipment, 40. In terms of states, the top 3 were Selangor, Johor and Pulau Pinang with 165, 70 and 53 SMEs respectively. Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul also highlighted that MITI assists SMEs on their environmental, social and governance ESG journey through a self-assessment mechanism. To date, 702 out of the targeted 1,000 companies for 2024 have received assistance. On electric vehicles EV, Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul noted that a total of 2,214 charging stations were installed as at 20th March 2024 as MITI maintains its commitment to developing the EV charging infrastructure and getting the targeted 10,000 charging points in place by the year 2025. On the electric motorcycle use promotion scheme, Mari Charge program, Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul said 1,995 applications were approved with rebates valued at 4.8 million ringgit as at 31st March 2024.
So under industry, I'm happy to share that our EV industry growth is on track. I think Mari has approved 1,995 applications for the rebate to purchase an e-bike.
He said this after announcing the ministry's first quarter 2024 report card today.
BMI, a Fitch Solutions company, foresees Malaysia's household spending growing by 5.0% year-on-year over 2024 to 903.8 billion ringgit as economic growth persists and consumption levels normalise.
In a research note, BMI said it has a cautious but positive outlook for consumer spending in Malaysia over 2024 as the economic recovery will translate into strong real consumer spending growth over the full year. The note said household spending over 2024 will mark the return to pre-COVID levels of growth and will also be constrained by an environment of high debts levels and its servicing costs. However, easing inflation and a tight labour market will support spending as real wage growth returns to positive territory, supporting purchasing power over the year. BMI added its forecast for year-on-year growth in consumer spending in Malaysia over 2024 is in line with its country risk team's forecast that the economy would grow by a real rate of 4.4% year-on-year over the year. They also noted that Malaysia would still post solid growth compared to other markets driven by the recovery in the tourism sector, especially after China reopened for travel. BMI further noted that inflation in Malaysia has been relatively tame, peaking at 4.7% year-on-year in August 2022, and the latest data for February 2024 puts inflation at 1.8% year-on-year.
The Malaysian Palm Oil Board, MPOB, will analyse research, projects and issues in the Malaysian oil palm industry to ensure that it will continue to drive growth and progress towards a lucrative and sustainable future.
The board said in a statement today that this matter will be discussed in the 4-day Programme Advisory Committee PAC meeting 2024, which began yesterday and will continue until 26 April. The statement said MPOB has implemented a research framework specifically developed to drive the direction of the national oil palm industry through genetic research, sustainable development, processing and mechanization, development of value-added products as well as digital technology. MPOB Chairman Dato' Muhammad Helmi Othman Bashar said that by prioritising strategic areas, the board is committed to addressing industry issues while strengthening its research and development endeavours. Meanwhile, MPOB Director General Dato' Ahmad Parviz Gulam Kadir said PAC members have reviewed and discussed various new initiatives and methods for improving crop, materials and efficient farm management as a main strategy to ensure a significant increase in yields. The PAC meeting is a special platform for MPOB to foster innovative and new ideas and strengthen MPOB's research strategies to meet the needs of the oil palm industry by capitalising on opportunities and global demands.
Petronas Chemicals Group Berhad PCG is focused on advancing its growth initiatives and strengthening its operational performance despite the expectation that 2024 will continue to be a challenging year.
The company said it is committed to strengthening its operational performance with the plant reliability strategy, which includes asset risk prioritization and proactive maintenance implementation to mitigate unplanned events. Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer Mazwin Ismail said PCG will also continue fostering stronger relationship with its customers to ensure it delivers the products and solutions in keeping with dynamic market demand. In 2023, the group noted that the global economic growth had slowed, influenced by geopolitical tensions and China's sluggish post-pandemic recovery, with high energy costs and product oversupply worsening the industry's downturn, with soft demand across the chemicals sector. Despite the challenges faced with the diligent implementation of our strategic initiatives, PCG recorded a production volume of 10.4 million tonnes, including commodities and specialty chemicals, and a sales volume of 9.6 million tonnes while maintaining a track record on safety. He also pointed out that PCG's growth performance has remained stable over the years, supported by its strong financial position.
Capital A Berhad Chief Executive Officer CEO Tan Sri Tony Fernandez has signed a new service contract for the next 5 years, continuing his role to focus on driving the group's future growth and financial returns.
Capital A Independent Non-Executive Director Dato' Pham Lee Yi said the board has approved an incentive package designed to align the CEO's interests with shareholders and ensure a shared commitment to drive the long-term success and sustainability of the group. Dato' Pham said Tan Sri Tony's role encompasses steering Capital A towards unlocking enhanced shareholder value through the execution of profitable transactions across the group's entities within Capital A. He also said Tan Sri Fernandez has set Capital A on the right strategic path for ongoing value creation, and the board determined it is in the best interest of the shareholders to extend his tenure. Meanwhile, Tan Sri Fernandez said he envisions Teleport, Move Digital, Capital A Aviation Services Group, CAPA, and Capital A International evolving into separately listed public companies over the next 5 years. He will also focus on returning value to shareholders during his renewed term while creating a narrow-term strategy for the group, coming out from PN17 status and strengthening its balance sheet. Besides the 10-year renewal, Tan Sri Fernandez was also appointed advisor and steward for AirAsia Aviation Group CEO as the airline group embarks on a new era of transformation and growth.
The Kuala Lumpur rubber market extended its downtrend today, Tracking regional rubber future markets, a stronger ringgit against the US dollar and weaker United States-US economic data.
A dealer said the Japanese rubber futures fell for a second straight sessions today, tracking lower physical prices in Thailand while an intensified price war and an oversupply of electric cars weighed on investor sentiment. Besides, the ringgit is strengthened on a weaker greenback after the US business activity cooled in April to a 4-month low, with S&P Global saying that its flash US Composite Purchasing Managers Index output fell to 50.9 this month from 52.1 in March due to weaker demand. Nevertheless, further losses in the rubber market were limited by the recovery in oil prices, coupled with a bright outlook for the automotive sector. At the time of writing, Brent crude oil prices rose to about $88 per barrel today versus $87 per barrel yesterday after the American Petroleum Institute data showed a surprise drop in the US crude stocks last week, a positive sign for demand. The Malaysian Rubber Board MRB price for standard Malaysian Rubber 20 SMR 20 fell by 3 cents to 759 cents per kilogram, while the price of latex in bulk slipped 5 cents to 712 cents per kilo. At 5 p.m., the MRB reference price for physical SMR 20 stood at 757.5 cents per kilo, while latex in bulk was 708 cents per kilo.
Vietnam's economic growth will reach 5.5% in 2034 and gradually rise to 6% by 2025, according to the World Bank's latest forecast.
Elaborating further on the matter, World Bank lead economist for Vietnam, Andrea Coppola, said the country's exports were recovering and consumption and private domestic investment growing more gradually. Real exports are expected to grow by 3.5% in 2024, reflecting a gradual improvement in global demand. In addition, he said a turnaround in the real estate sector is anticipated later this year and next year, bolstering domestic demand as investors and consumers regain confidence. Vietnam news agency cited the bank's senior economist Dorsati Madani as saying that the forecast is based on the assumption that the exports of manufactured industrial goods will recover significantly in 2024 thanks to a rebound growth of 8.5% compared to the same period last year in the fourth quarter of 2023 and a 17.2% increase year-on-year in the first quarter of 2024 and an improving global demand. Earlier this month, the Asian Development Bank maintained its earlier growth projection for Vietnam at 6% and 6.2% in 2024 and 2025 respectively.
The yen dropped to multi-year lows against the US dollar and euro, keeping investors on heightened Japanese intervention watch ahead of this week's Bank of Japan's policy meeting.
The euro reached 165.71 yen, its highest since 2008, after data showed business activity in the eurozone expanded at its fastest pace in nearly a year. Primarily due to a recovery in services, Europe's common currency was last up at 0.4% at 165.67 yen. The dollar rose as high as 154.88 against the yen, a 34-year peak, and edging closer to 155, a level seen by market participants as the new trigger for Japanese intervention. The greenback was little changed on the day at 154.79 yen. Earlier yesterday, Japanese Finance Minister Shunichi Suzuki gave his strongest warning yet on the chance of intervention, saying last week's meeting with his US and South Korean counterparts laid the groundwork for Tokyo to act against excessive yen moves. However, there were doubts whether Tokyo would act so close to the BOJ's two-day policy meeting that starts tomorrow.
Australian consumer price inflation slowed less than expected in the first quarter as service cost pressures stayed stubbornly high, a disappointing result for policymakers that led markets to abandon hopes for any rate cuts this year.
The Australian dollar duly jumped 0.6% to $0.6522, while 3-year bond futures tumbled 15 ticks to 96.00, the lowest this year. Spoke markets even moved to a price in a minimal chance, about 4% of a rate hike by August, while pricing out almost any bet of a rate cut this year. Total easing expected this year has been slashed to 3 basis points, down from 17 BPS before. Data from the Australian Bureau of Statistics today showed the Consumer Price Index CPI rose 1% in the first quarter, above market forecast of 0.8%. The annual pace of CPI inflation, however, slowed to 3.6% from 4.1% thanks to base effects, but again came in above forecast for an easing to 3.5%. For March alone, the CPI rose 3.5% compared to the same month a year earlier, up from 3.4% in February. A closely watched measure of core inflation, the TRIM mean, rose 1% in the first quarter, again above forecast of 0.8%. The annual pace slowed to 4% from 4.2%.
Coming up, bill to ban TikTok in US clears Congress. The Shenzhou 18 manned spaceship is scheduled to lift off on Thursday from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China, announced the China Manned Space Agency CMSA today. Li Ziqiang, Deputy Director of the CMSA, confirmed that the Shenzhou 18 mission will carry a crew of 3 astronauts.
After reaching the space station, the trio will be greeted by the Shenzhou 17 crew currently aboard the Tiangong space station. The Shenzhou 17 crew has been on the space station since 26 October last year and will return to Earth after completing in-orbit rotation. The upcoming mission marks China's 13th manned space flight mission since the launch of the manned space program and represent the first manned missions to the space station this year. China's Tiangong space station will continue its normal operation with plans outlined for 2 cargo spacecraft missions and 2 manned spaceflight missions in 2024. The Tiangzhou 7 cargo supply mission was successfully completed in January this year. The Shenzhou 18 spaceship, sitting atop a Long March 2F carrier rocket, was transferred to the launching area on 17th April with pre-launch function checks and joint tests conducted to ensure the spaceship's readiness.
The US Senate approved legislation requiring the widely popular social media app TikTok to be divested from its Chinese parent company ByteDance or be shut out of the American market.
The measure was part of a $95 billion foreign aid package, including military assistance to Ukraine, Israel and Taiwan, which has now cleared Congress and heads to President Joe Biden's desk. US and other Western officials have voiced alarm over the popularity of TikTok with young people, alleging it allows Beijing to collect data and spy on users. It has 170 million users in the United States alone. The bill, which could trigger the rare step of barring a company from operating in the US market, passed the Senate by a 79-18 vote 3-day after it cleared the House of Representatives with strong bipartisan support. Biden has stated he will sign the legislation. He reiterated his concerns about TikTok in a rare telephone conversation with Chinese President Xi Jinping early this month. TikTok for years has been in the crosshair of American authorities who say the platform allows Beijing to snoop on users in the United States, but a ban could trigger lawsuits. The bill passed by Congress gave the US President the authority to designate other applications as a threat to national security if they are controlled by a country deemed hostile.
That concludes this edition of Malaysia Tonight. In our top story, Petra SP to implement water sector transformation framework. Till then, I'm SAHIH from the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Thank you for watching.